let's do a down payment of 10% down. So you're going to be into this 10K, and you're going to have a mortgage of 90. Maybe you do seller financing, subject to, lease option, I don't know, right? But there's all sorts of strategies, and you could partner with others on this. So keep your guard down. Some of you are like, Mark, I don't even own my own home yet. What are you talking about? Hang tight. You've got to learn these principles, because how can, the universe bless you if you're not learning what you need to implement it when it comes, right? We've got to soak this in and make it a part of us. Now, Chris Albin may tell you, hey, you spent too much, and you should have done this with 0 down, and you could have bought something a little cheaper too. There's all sorts of options, so hang with me. Now, 100 grand, you're into this. You're into it 10 grand on a $100,000 property. Now, let's say you get 5% appreciation. What's going to go up in value? Your 10 grand, 5%, or the property for 5%? Property, that's the appreciation. Now, some of you may go, well, Mark, have you seen the market the last 10 years? It's been like this and up and down. Blah, blah, blah. Guys, the real estate market has not been like this. The real estate market's been like this. And over time, over the last 50 years, real estate, rental long-term real estate, and all these different markets nationwide has averaged over 6.74%. Even with the 2008 crash, real estate outperformed the S&P 500. Now, we know the stock market's on a huge run right now, but what we know with real estate, there can be a bubble, and we know there can also be a bubble with the stock market. Now, I'm not saying we don't invest in the stock market. We want to diversify, but we need to have real estate as part of the equation. I want to digress for just 2 seconds on this. Some people say, Mark, why do you make real estate more important than even putting money in an IRA or 401k sometimes? Because, guys, we as Americans suck at saving. We do. I hate to say it. I do. Americans are bad at saving. We have one of the lowest saving rates in the world as a nation. How many of you have tried to put away $50 a month, $100 a month, $1,000 a month, right? How many of us try to save, and unless they take it right out of our paycheck, does it happen? No. We kind of are bad at that, right? Well, when you buy a rental property, a lot of times it's the sensation of being stuck. You put all this work, you went out and bought this rental property, and you're like, oh, I've signed on the dotted line. I got to make this work now. It's like a forced retirement plan. And there's those times when you're like, oh, there's no tenant. This sucks, or I hate this rental, or whatever. And then all of a sudden you get on a great run with great tenants and things are going well, and you're like, oh my gosh, that was the best thing I ever did. I better look for another rental. And then you get a second one. And then you learn more and learn how to manage your property manager and manage your tenants and buy better rentals. And all of a sudden you've got your third and your fourth. And you start building a retirement plan with cash flow rental real estate that's tax preferred and tax-free cash flow. Oh, you're doing cry? Is this great? So I say again, 5% is conservative. And in the long run, you're going to get great appreciation. So if I get 5% appreciation on 100 grand, how much did I make? 5 grand. Now, well, the cool part here is you made 5 grand, but you didn't take it out. You're not taxed on it. You still have this rental. These rentals, you're going to keep 7 to 10 years. 7 to 10 years. So you're into this bad boy, and you just made 5 grand. How much was your investment? 10. What's your ROI in this quadrant? 50%. Your ROI is 50%. You invested 10, made 5. No tax. You might never pay tax. You might do a 1031 exchange, charitable remainder trust, installment sale. One of the best tax strategies, you've heard me say before, what is it? Dying. What is your best strategies? Because your family gets stepped up basis, they sell the property tax free. I've been trying to talk clients into the strategy for years, and they don't get it. I don't know why. It's just kind of crazy. Okay, now that's your first quadrant, appreciation. Now mortgage reduction. We want to buy rentals that cash flow, or at least break even cash flow. Chris Albin will tell you got to demand better. But we want to make sure our rentals cover PITI. Now, you're going to start learning these terms, and many of you have already been through some classes on this. But what does PITI stand for? Principal. What was the one? Interest, taxes, insurance. And that's the insurance on the property and property taxes. Okay, now if I can get rent to at least cover my PITI, look what's happening. Who's paying the mortgage payment for you? The tenant. The tenant's paying the mortgage. So your property's going up in value, and as the mortgage gets paid, what's going to the mortgage balance? It's going down. So you're building equity, and you didn't put any more money in. You bought this property, and it at least covers direct expenses. So now you're building this cash equity and no more investment on your part. The mortgage reduction's going down as the mortgage payments are being made by your tenant. So if let's say it's $2,000 a year, maybe $150 a month. Just now, we know there's going to be interest involved and more interest up front, but let's just say it's $2,000. The mortgage is going down by $2,000 and it's going up in value. So I just created another ROI, another return on my investment. What's the percent here? 20%. So I invested 10, I made 2. Woo! Bam! Feeling it?
All right, let's come on in, everybody. Come on in. Come grab a seat. A chair. Come grab your seat. That's weird. Yeah. That's mine, but thank you. All right, door shut, ready to go. Welcome. How's everybody doing tonight? Awesome. Now, you might be asking yourself, we're in this little room. Why does this guy have a microphone, right? I asked myself that, so you're allowed to also, okay? The reason I have a microphone, if you look back at that little window right there, there's this little camera thingy. I guess I'm being filmed tonight. I don't know why. I don't think I'm that special. Oh, and I'm being broadcast live? Am I really? That could change what happens tonight. Oh, does he really? All right. Well, shout out. What's your friend, Ozzy? What's his name? Or her name? Or huh? He goes by Cash. I'm setting him up right now. Cash. Oh, so is he on or not on yet? Not quite. All right. Come on. Let's get some cash in the room. Anybody going to bring credit on board? Retirement accounts? Come on. Got one of those? Do we have leverage? Right? All right. Well, my name's Kevin Sparks, and I'm one of the founders of Positive Impact Real Estate Investors Group. Who we are is we're a group of advanced, intermediate, beginning investors, and what we do is we teach, train, and support each other in reaching our real estate investing goals and our financial goals and whatever type of goals that we have for our life related to business, entrepreneurship, and things like that. The reason I happen to be at the front of the room, by the way, and I know, here's what we did. So I'll just start right now. This last Saturday, as a group, as a team of people that are on our team and also guests, we went and did a walkthrough on a property this past Saturday. Actually, it was different. We got to walk through 2 this past Saturday because they were in the same subdivision, which was really cool. So what we did at that particular walkthrough is we told the people who came, okay, if you come spend some time with us, and we divided it up. So we had people that live closer to here, like Orange County, Inland Empire, and San Diego, but we did the walkthrough on just one again, 2, but in a subdivision, right? So 2 properties, but this was over in San Diego County, right? And to make things easier for you tonight, so did you notice we were like a little bit full on Saturday? Like there were a lot of people there? We ended up finding out when all was said and done, there were 66 of us that were there. So that's a pretty good turnout. Obviously, there's not 66 in the room right now tonight. That's not because there's not 66 interested people. It's because we gave people 4 different places they could go to get the information. It just whatever was more, convenient for them. So what we did is Tuesday night we were in Carlsbad. We blew out the room over there. Last night we were in Kearney Mesa over in San Diego, and we were also over in Santa Ana in Orange County. I personally was in Kearney Mesa, so I know what that crowd looked like, which we were packed again. I don't know what happened in Orange County last night because I wasn't there. Although I imagine it was pretty terrific what was going on, because we're pretty much doing the same thing because we're trying to disseminate the same information to you guys. So here we are tonight, night 3 of the tour, and here we are in beautiful Murrieta. What we promised people that went through the walkthrough is we were going to share with them some things tonight about real estate investing that, whether you're a seasoned investor or brand new, you probably don't know, that will be valuable to you right away. The other things we said that we would talk about was what it would look like and what it would take to work together with the team. Is that kind of why you guys have kind of come? And some of you who weren't at, who was at the walkthrough on Saturday, by the way? Okay, over half of us. Who was not there? Okay, all right. So if you weren't there, you're going to have to pardon me a little bit, because I'm going to treat you as if you were. I have to keep my promise to the people that were there Saturday. If you weren't there, you're kind of seeing things backwards. Because what we like to do typically when we meet you, you get to know us, we get to know you, is we like to do it at our projects. Why do we like to do that? Because many people, if you're like me, many people are like a little skeptical. We've gone to too many seminars, right? Has anybody ever attended like this free introductory seminar on how to invest in real estate, right? I won't go into all the detail. But because we've attended stuff like that, or we've gone to maybe a real estate investor club / association, and what they do is they have the person from out of town that flies in, teaches, does their thing, and then says, now buy my course. Has anybody ever been to that kind of thing before, right? Because that's what we normally, that happens to a lot of us. Again, it creates skepticism. And besides, who wants to work together with somebody who flies in, flies out, and leaves you alone after it's all said and done? It's hard to do real estate in that scenario by yourself, regardless of what information they gave you. Because what you get stuck with is an email address or an 800 number as your support system. Or if you attend the RIAs, which is a Real Estate Investor Association, what you do is you have a monthly meeting that goes on for 2.5 hours or something like that. So you come together for 2.5 hours once a month. The topic is different every single time. And then you all disband and you don't see each other again for another month, unless you're RIA hopping. And then if you're RIA hopping, you actually get to see the same people you saw the night before next week at some other place, but it's just you guys hopping around from place to place and still not doing real estate investing. Because that's what ends up happening for a lot of people. The reason we like our typical first introduction to be through a walkthrough on an actual property is to show you that this is what we do. We live here, we work here, we play here, we invest here. That being said, for me, that's semi-true. We drove in months ago. My wife, Kirsten, she's the nice gal back here. Go ahead and raise your hand. You met her coming in, probably wrote your name tag. And myself, we moved here from Phoenix on December 30th. So obviously we haven't been here all that long, but we actually live here, work here, play here too. We moved here, and we're actually over in North San Diego County area. Before we moved here, though, we hooked up and met with some people that were very successful investors in this area and had a discussion with each other, and we were talking about what we had put together over in Phoenix. Because back in October 2015, myself and some partners started and put together a mastermind team of very successful investors, of, like I said, advanced, and then some intermediate and beginning people that wanted to learn how to invest in real estate. And just a handful of us started together October 2015. What that's grown into is a group of over 218 people that are actually investing in real estate. How cool is that? Prior to that, about 20 to 25% of those people were investing in real estate already. The other 75 plus to 80% were not investing in real estate before. Those are people who had never done a transaction yet in real estate investing. What we did is we created a mastermind system, an education system, a way to get people from thinking about it to doing it, to where typically somewhere between 60 to 120 days, the people that came on board were already involved in some kind of profitable transaction. And this all grew word of mouth. We weren't out there spending money on marketing. Matter of fact, here's what happens. Darren, do you mind coming up for a moment? I want to introduce you to Darren. But so Darren, we'll get into something else in a minute. But you've been investing in real estate for how long?
Since 2010.
Okay. Prior to investing in real estate, what were you doing?
I was frankly, I was a paint pump mechanic. You guys know what a paint pump is? All it does is, it's a machine that takes paint out of the bucket and then sprays it on the wall. You've got a little gun and a hose, and it looks like magic if you see it on TV. It's not like that. You know, you ever see a painter? They got paint from head to toe and all over their van and their truck and everything else. But anyway, I was a paint pump mechanic, and used to come home smelling like paint or thinner or used burned motor oil, all that stuff.
Okay. So we're going to call Darren right now the paint guy, right? This is Darren the paint guy. I have a reason for calling him this. Okay. So family and friends, at the time you were doing this, they kind of knew you as the paint guy.
Absolutely.
Right? Can we get another mic? If the people online want to hear that, he's going to need this for a minute.
Sir?
This way, Ozzy's buddy can play with us. Yeah. Cash. Good to have you, Cash. Go ahead and send your cash in. We're happy to take it. I'm just kidding. So he's known as Darren the paint guy, right? Do we all know people like that? We know Joe the truck driver, right? We know Sally the secretary. And what we know them as, and here's what I mean by that. When he went to church, besides being brother whatever, he's also known as Darren the paint guy, isn't he? If he has any hobbies, like he's in the bowling league, I don't know if you are or aren't, right? Nope. But the people in the bowling league, besides the fact they know he bowls or doesn't, right? But if he's on the bowling league, what do people know Darren as?
The paint guy.
Darren the paint guy, right? So he's Darren the paint guy. But Darren the paint guy starts learning about real estate investing, hanging around people that know what the heck they're doing, and starts doing transactions. Let me ask Darren the paint guy a question here. As you started doing real estate investing, did people that know you as Darren the paint guy, were they a little surprised that you weren't just Darren the paint guy any longer?
They were very surprised. I actually, my brother is still in the paint world, and he was out here in San Diego doing a show promotion, and went and visited him, and everyone looked at me shocked, like, what have you been doing? What are you doing? Because you get into the paint world and you just don't get out.
Okay.
I got out.
Yes,
right?
Yeah, congratulations.
Woo!
But here's what I'm getting at, right? Social media is a big thing today. I mean, it's not the only thing, but is social media big today?
Yes.
Could Darren be brand new as a real estate investor, 3 months into it, working on his first flip, post it on social media and freak out his friends? Yeah. Why? Because Darren's the paint guy. Yeah. Darren's not the fix and flipper. Darren's not the wholesaler. Darren's not the real estate investor. Darren's the paint guy. What happens to the people that know Darren's the paint guy? They start hitting him up. Yeah. Well, for a while they watch.
Yeah. Is it April 1st?
Yeah.
Is it
picture of a house. Ooh, picture of messed up house. Oh wow, picture of demoed house. Oh wow, here's the one. Oh wow, it's sold. Oh wow, there's Darren. Ooh, check. I need to contact Darren the paint guy because I'm Joe the truck driver. I don't want to be Joe the truck driver forever. I don't want to be Darren the paint guy either, but I do want to be Darren the real estate investor. So I get in touch with Darren somehow. I message him, or we are friends for real, because most of the people on Facebook were not, right? But we are actually friends, and so I get in my phone book, did I say that? That is hilarious, right? I get into my cell phone, into my contacts, and I'm like, Darren the paint guy, right? And of course, nobody calls anybody anymore. So I text him. Hey, this is Joe the truck driver. Hey, Darren the paint guy, this is Joe the truck driver. Hey, we haven't connected with each other in a while, but I saw you on Facebook, and it looks like you did a fix and flip. When did you start doing that stuff? And by the way, I'm interested too. Would you share with me how to do that? Is that kind of what really happens? I mean, not that it was Joe, right?
Yeah.
But do people out of your life or around you notice that you're doing something different?
You start posting checks, and oh yeah, everyone's coming out of the woodwork.
Okay, so what ends up happening is people ask him questions. Well, those people that ask him questions, we said, hey, guess what? You learned from our mastermind together. I'm talking about over in Phoenix. You have no business training these people how to be real estate investors yet. You've only done 1, 2, 3 transactions. Maybe you made $100,000. That's terrific. I'm excited for you. But you are not in any position to go out there and become Darren, the real estate guru.
No,
right?
No.
Why? You haven't done it. There's a lot of reasons why you don't want to be Darren, the real estate guru. But at least early on, one of the big reasons is if you start taking on that role with your friends and your buddies, and they bump up against something that you haven't dealt with yet, you got some problems, don't you? But if you bring them over to the mastermind of people that actually know what they're doing, the same way you did, they actually thank you for it, and that's how we grew from a handful of people to over 200 people doing real estate over in Phoenix. You guys get that? Now, the reason the mastermind worked is we had to have some advanced, successful investors that were willing to have oversight over what's going on with the people that are kind of more intermediate or brand new, or else they were never going to get the job done. We don't need perpetual students. We don't need you studying forever. You've already done that. We need you to have some education, but you've been hanging out, checking out the internet, going to RIAs, whatever you've been doing all this time anyway, thinking about real estate investing and not doing it. We're here to help you get into action within the first 60 to 120 days, be involved in some kind of profitable transaction. Now, I say involved in it. Does that mean that you got paid a check at the end of 60 days? Maybe, maybe not. Depends on the strategy. Depends on everything else. We say involved in that particular transaction because there's a learning curve and there's an action curve to go through. But by us giving you things to do on a regular weekly basis, we can help move you along through that. And that's what people tend to do. And once you're off and running, once you've done 2, 3, 4 transactions, do you feel like you would have some additional confidence? Yes or yes?
Absolutely.
Right? Life changes at that point. It gets way more exciting. And you don't, the butterflies, you still have them. Before they were like churning, now they fly in formation. You know, I mean, you still got butterflies, but at least they're not bumping up against each other in your stomach. They're going, hey, we're going to do a new deal. Ooh, okay, let's all go this way. It feels a little better. Let's go do it. Can you guys know what I'm talking about? I'm not talking strictly real estate investing. Anytime we do something brand new to us, the first time, is it a little funky? Do we get that butterfly feeling? Even if it's not going to bite us, it's just the newness of it. But here's the point about real estate investing, folks. The stuff that you do today that you become very experienced at, like your jobs, your careers, your hobbies, they're all second nature now, like you're on autopilot. This becomes the same thing, but it just isn't that way the first day. I also want Darren to be up here because the mastermind that we had going on in Phoenix had to have some successful investors had done a lot of deals to help oversee and have oversight over what's happening to help lead the people along and get them into action, right? So I want Darren to share because he's one of the people, this has worked successfully for us over in Phoenix, and they said, Kevin, we want to duplicate that here. Will you help us put that together? I mean, it really is that simple. I wish I could say I'm superstar, Superman, you know, hopefully my wife thinks so. But other than that, I'm just a regular guy who said, oh, if you want to teach somebody how to do something, why don't you actually teach them how they learn how to do everything? How many of you learn better by actually getting involved in doing it together side by side with other people that do it versus just studying it? That's how we learn most stuff. Even when we go to school, do they give us some homework? Yeah. But if we're in like a trade school or we've moved on further and we've graduated, now we're into grad school and things like that, there comes a point in that process that we actually have to get out of the books and into the streets, right? That's how we learn how to really do things. So Darren and several other people, maybe he could mention their qualifications, but Darren now graduated from Darren the paint guy. Darren, maybe to some people he's still Darren the paint guy because they don't know, right? There's a few out there, but for the most part, they know Darren as Darren the real estate investor now, and they have for years. So tell them kind of what you've done in real estate investing, and because you and Daryl, this is really crazy. So we've got a Darren and a Daryl. We've got a Kevin and a Kendall.
Yeah.
I know it's nuts.
Wow.
We have we have an Imran, so that won't mess anything up. We have a Finn and an Imran.
Yeah.
Those are a little bit different. We've got a Jay,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Gavin.
We got a Gavin. What's a Gavin? Right? So we've got we have a Steven, and we might have a couple other people. We have about 7 to 8 people that have committed to help oversee this that have all done hundreds of transactions already. So why don't you kind of share the vision of what's going on with this?
You know, when the concept came to me, I thought it's about time, because who doesn't want to actually go out and do some real estate, be involved in some form or fashion? So this is our chance. We're going to put all of our heads together. We're putting all of our heads together so that we can make this, fun, exciting, profitable. And I mean profitable because you've got people with experience behind you. Myself, I started back in 2010 doing real estate, incorporated in 2010, started flipping houses. And since then, I've done over 200, making over $3 million of net profits for me and my investors. And that's been a lot of fun. It's been really cool. The other people that are involved have done a lot more than I have. Daryl and Imran have both done over 500 transactions. Jay Massey's probably into 1,000. Gavin's probably into 1,000. These guys know what they're talking about. And the information that you'll be learning is some of it's direct from them. Some of it's going to be shared with you through them. You will actually get to see them face to face, talk with them face to face, ask questions, and they'll share some of their experience. It's really a once in a lifetime kind of an opportunity. I don't know where you get this many strong real estate personalities kind of all under the same roof over a 6-week period of time.
It is. It's phenomenal. In Phoenix, we did that. You guys want to know what kind of the results were of that? I want to share them with you, because this is what you're welcome to go ahead. Yeah. So we took a group. It was about this time last year in Phoenix. There were 35 new people that came on board within about a 60 to 90-day period of each other, and we'd been helping them. And most of them were getting involved in transactions and things. But there were some people that were just like, I want to be like out of the gate, supercharged, let's run with this thing. How many of you feel that way? Like, let's go for it? I've thought about it for a long time. Let's just get this done. That way, the next time a friend asks me, when are you going to do it? I can say, what do you mean? I've already done 3 or whatever, right? So we had these people who came on board with no real estate investing experience, and we put together a mastermind. This one was related to wholesaling and fixing and flipping. It's not the only ones we run. We run 5 different ones in Phoenix now because we've grown so much. In Phoenix, we run a wholesale fix and flip mastermind. We do a multifamily mastermind. We do a buy and hold for people that want rental type properties and do lease options. We have a notes mastermind, and we have a financial literacy mastermind. Okay, we call it Essentials. 5 masterminds going on simultaneously because we've got so many people and so many different interests. And we have so much expertise, we can cover all of it. How cool is that? We have that type of expertise here, but our first focus is going to be what our first focus was over there too, which is the fix and flip wholesale side, because that's what a bunch of you guys want to get started doing. You want that like now income. That doesn't mean we won't help you do other things. I'm just sharing an example so you guys get an idea what this is like. 35 people came on board. We said, look, we need a commitment from you. If you'll commit to us, we'll commit to you. Your commitment is you're going to spend 4 to 6 hours a week on average doing things that we're going to tell you to go do. Like, we won't be there with you for that 4 to 6 hours worth of things we're going to ask you to do. Some of it's going to be some study time. Some of it's going to be online time. Some of it might be some audio or video related stuff. And some of it's going to be you're going to call this person, set this appointment, do these types of things, and report back to us how that goes. That's about 4 to 6 hours on your own time, very flexible. There's not a specific time of day you have to go do it. Then the commitment is to spend physically with us about 2 to 4 hours a week. Okay? maybe a little bit longer. Not always, but like there might be something really special we're doing. Like we might say, hey, you're going to spend a couple hours with us, on Thursday night. Of course, we're going to have another walkthrough probably on Saturday. We'd like you to be there, because not just for guests and things, but because we can actually stick around before or after and tell you really more detail what's going on. And maybe a different time where we're going to say, hey, Darren's saying, look, we're going to go out without other people around other than just you, me, and a few of us, and we're going to actually talk to some of my contractors or whatever it happens to be and get the inside scoop of what's going on and how it works. So 35 people committed to doing this, and their commitment was a 5-month commitment, that you're going to do this every week for 5 months. Granted, there's still flexibility, and we said, look, we know that things can come up in your life. Totally get it. How many people have had to or been invited to some kind of like graduation the last little bit here? How many of you have family, nieces, or nephews? You got to be at that birthday party or the family will ostracize you, right? Or a baptism or what, right? There's a few things out there, not the NBA Finals. Although some of you are going, oh, right? There's a few things out there, that are legit in our mind that, okay, we get it. You miss once. You miss a few times, that's okay. Here's the reason we don't want you missing coming together with us every week. You'll fall behind. And we don't need you dragging the rest of the group. That doesn't mean you're like kicked out or anything. It just means, okay, we're going to do some things on the side on your own, and the next time we run this particular mastermind, we'll put you in the front, but you'll know what it takes to. But again, it's not like, oh, you're out of here, we don't like you. No, that's not how it is. It's just like you just have to not drag the other part of the group because they're moving forward. These 35 people, here's what happened. In 5 months, they did 44 deals. I know that got really quiet. 35 people did 44 deals. These were all people who had done nothing before. Here's what else they did. By the way, just quick show of hands, anybody in the room have a retirement account? Okay, a few. Anybody in the room, and the reason I'm saying this, real estate investing, this is an interesting thing. Have you ever heard that you can invest in real estate without using your own money or credit? Has anybody ever heard that? That's true. Matter of fact, pick up the mic again. You can sit down for this. You can just speak it. How many of those flips that you did, the couple hundred that you've done, actually had your money and credit in them?
None of them. They're always somebody else's.
You guys hear that? Does that get you pretty excited if you don't have a ton of money and credit? Right? However, if you have a retirement account that's getting crappy returns, we can share with you how to get that thing self-directed so you can get double-digit returns. Matter of fact, a lot of retirement accounts funded those types of deals, right, Darren? Yeah. Okay. The other thing, anybody have a pretty reasonable credit, like 680 or above if you happen to know that, right? Okay. In that scenario, we've actually, in the past 2 weeks, we've helped 5 brand new people who came on board of the team that said, hey, I want to utilize that asset I have. I mean, I've worked hard all my life to keep my credit score high, or I've fixed it, or whatever that is, and all it does is sit there unless I want to buy a big flat screen TV and finance it, or buy a new car, or buy a house. It doesn't really do much for me. But you just train me through some things, how I can actually apply that good credit rating that I have and get 0% interest for 12 to 21 months or longer. And what we did is there's actually 5 people just in the last 2 weeks that said, we want to do that. In the last 5 weeks, we've collectively, for those 5 people, have gotten them over $360,000 in 0%. Typically, we can get you somewhere between $40,000 and $100,000. If you're a 680 or better, no drag in about the last 5 years or so, okay? If you don't have that type of score, that's okay. That's just not one of the assets you'll apply to this, correct? That's fine. Because again, you don't need to have your own money or credit. We have things that will teach you how to raise money and how to talk to people that maybe are in a better situation than you if you're willing to be the person that comes to the deal with the knowledge and or the energy. What I mean by the energy, like you're willing to work. So it can become a win-win scenario for everybody. But they collectively amongst themselves, those 35 people, here's what they figured out once they knew how to self-direct and do all the things that they did. Not like it went into some pot, but we were just keeping track of what happened. They raised in that same 5 months over $4 million to do real estate investing. I'd call that significant results. If you take people that have never done it before, and in a 5-month period of time, 35 people did 44 deals and raised $4 million, I'm going to be even more straight with you guys than I am all the time. Not that I'm not, but I'm going to be straight because I've got people in the room that are team members here. Let me share something with you. How many of you in this room feel like if you say you're going to do something, you're actually going to do it? Like that's at the core who you are. Okay? Good. Again, but I want your hands up high. If you're the type of person that when you say you're going to do something, you actually do it, put your hand up high and proud. Okay, we're not missing anybody in this room. Perfect. Then I don't mind sharing this with you. Those 35 people made that commitment. They came on board. They started working. I said they did 44 deals. That is correct. I said it was a 5-month commitment. That is correct. I said they raised $4 million. That is correct. What I didn't share with you is it was 16 people that did the 44 because the others, after week 1, 2, 3, 6, whatever, kind of faded away. They didn't go away like not here anymore. They didn't adhere to doing their follow-through on a weekly basis. So do you think they actually got a deal done in that time frame? But here's what should excite you. The number of deals didn't go down, did it? Oh. 44 divided by 16 is almost 3 average per person. Is that pretty exciting when you really find out what happened? It sounds cool to say 35 people did 44. That's impressive. And that is. If everybody keeps their commitments in life, that's what it looks like. Matter of fact, they would have done more than 44 deals, to be honest. But 16 people collectively did 44 deals and raised that kind of money. That's even more impressive. What happened with some of the others is when we were done with that particular mastermind, they were still around, they were still learning, growing, progressing. Do you think the next time we started that mastermind up, they were ready? Heck yeah. By the way, do you think those people that stuck it through, like after they did those deals at the end of 5 months, are like, okay, I'm done real estate investing? Do you think that's what they did? No. They've done a lot more since then. We were just tracking that specific thing, right? We were tracking what we could help new people accomplish, and that's what they accomplished. I think that's super cool. We're going to share with you right now the information that you're going to need to know what it looks like to work together with us, okay? First, I'm going to play something and have a little bit of fun with you. We like to have fun. You'll find that as you hang out with us. We kind of have this motto, if it ain't fun, we don't want to do it. Now, that doesn't mean everything we do is fun to do. Some people in real estate investing transactions like certain pieces better than others. But to put the check in your pocket, sometimes you do a few things that aren't the most fun. That doesn't mean like they're awful. It's just like because some people are more detailed, so they don't mind keeping track of the details. Some people are more visionary. And some people are great people. Like, hey, they've never met a stranger, right? If you're that type of person, you are going to be awesome in helping people solve real estate problems because they're going to like you and trust you. You're just going to need somebody backing you up. That's why it's good to have a team that makes sure that the I's are dotted and the T's get crossed. That way you both can win, or all can win, right? Let's see. I'm going to fire this thing back up here in a moment. We're going to show something for kicks and for fun. After we do that, we're going to hop into the meat of this. Get this back up here. And there we go. Let's put him down for a moment. fun. We like to be a little bit silly around here too. Can anybody actually relate to that? How many of you actually want to make sure that just never happens in the first place, right? The reason I actually played this video again to have a little fun, lighten things up a little bit, is I played it because the majority of us are here in this room not because we're in love with houses and buildings, right? What we want is an end result. What we want is to not have that happen to us, potentially. And or what we want is to change our, like, right now specific financial situation. We want to increase our income potentially. We might have that income we like, but we're tired of doing what we're doing to get it. Or maybe the number of hours we're putting in to get it is like ridiculous and we have no life. Maybe what we've done is, hey, I'm doing well right now. I'm doing good, but I looked at where I'm going to be when it does come time to retire, and I don't want to live on half to a third of what I had trouble living on in the first place. I don't want to have to downsize and move to South America or Central America to try and maintain my lifestyle. I kind of like it around here, you know, or wherever it is you'd rather be. You want options. So most of you, there's always a couple people, one or two people in the room, they're actually in here because they love houses. Like, whether you got paid or not, you would always be hanging around houses. You love design, you love walking, you know, model homes, you like going through open houses. You do that for entertainment, even when it has nothing to do with you putting money in your pocket. But for most of us, a house, real estate investing, an apartment building, a commercial complex, a fix and flip, a wholesale deal, rental properties, whatever it happened, notes, deeds, liens, whatever it is just a way for us to get to where we want to get financially in life. Would you guys agree with that? Okay. So I just want to make sure we're all on the same page and we're all honest about who we are and what we're thinking, right? Because that's really what this is about. I did not grow up as a little kid playing on the playground with my friends or going over to their place after school, and we ran around the yard, and I'm like running around going, I'm a real estate investor. I'm a real estate. I didn't have a cape that was REI on the front, you know, red, and I'm a real estate man, right? I am real estate man, right? No. I mean, and none of us did that. Right? We had different dreams, aspirations, and things. This is a means to an end. We just figured out that, hey, I want to find out if it really is true about that no money, no credit thing. I want to find out if those checks at the end of the show, because I've been watching HGTV. I can do that if they can, because I saw that girl running around in her yoga pants doing demos. Looks pretty easy to me. Actually, real estate investing isn't necessarily difficult, but there's way more to it than what they could ever show you on a TV show. But just like anything else you do right now that you're currently good at, this is something that can become second nature autopilot for you. That's what we hope to get you to that place. I want to share with you right now, though, the next thing I want to share with you is my buddy John. He's somebody that I work together with who currently lives in the Salt Lake area. You know, I said we've expanded out here from Phoenix what we're doing, right? That's true. We've already expanded into some other areas. This just happens to be where my wife and I moved to, and then we hooked up with these other investors that wanted to come together collectively the same way they did in Phoenix. That's what made this thing work. They said, this sounds like a good idea. If they hadn't said it sounded like a good idea, we wouldn't be doing this. Actually, we probably would be. It just wouldn't be you guys, because I'd have done it anyway. I can't help myself. But you guys collectively said, this sounds really cool, let's go for it. And actually, even in the short time, we haven't even done all this mastermind stuff yet. I've watched people in this area do more stuff in the last 3 months than they've done maybe the last 12, which I think is super cool. How many of you guys on the team already, you can vouch for that? Like, stuff has really picked up steam, right? Super cool. So my buddy John's actually going to talk to you right now for about 38 minutes, not me. Typically, I've done this live in the past, but this time I'm going to let John do it. Here's why I'm going to do that. Have you ever attended something in your life where you learned something new and you went back home to try it? By the way, is there anybody in the room that has a spouse, a significant other, or a business partner that's not actually here with you? Common. Okay. So you go attend something and you learn something new that actually makes a difference. You're like, that changes things for me. I did not know that I did not know that, but now I know, so I'm aware of something totally new and totally different. And you go try and explain it to that person. And they look at you like you have a big eye in the middle of your forehead. Like you don't just have these two, somebody stuck another one there, and maybe you got a horn going out this way, and all of a sudden there's a spike coming out your shoulder because all they see is an alien in front of them. And the reason you look and sound like an alien is not because you're not smart people and don't know what you experienced. It's because you're trying to regurgitate and teach back to somebody what the person in front of the room's probably been doing for years. And this is the first time you heard it. And all you know, and then they make you feel bad. And then you either get in a fight or you believe them. Well, I mean, you either believe and go, I guess didn't see what I saw. Maybe my, I don't know, Houdini. Ooh, they hypnotized me and I saw something that wasn't there. Or you're so strong in your personality, you're like, screw you. I know what I saw. You get out of the house. You're on the couch tonight, right? Because I know what I saw and you're not going to call me an idiot. You call me an idiot, you talk to the hand, right? So anyhow, to help avoid that situation, the reason I'm playing the recording is since you're invited, the only way you're here is because somebody on our team invited you to be here. That person can get you access to this to share with that person so we can remove that eye from your forehead if you want to do that. Cool? Then after we're done with that, depending on time, I'll share a few other things with you, and we'll definitely wrap up. And we said we'd be here 7 to 9. We will get you out of here by then. Cool? You guys good with that? All right. So, one other caveat right here. If you have a cell phone, you might want to pull it out. Here's why I say that. Have you ever had somebody training you and they started using a PowerPoint and you're writing down things to take notes and then they change the slide on you? Is that annoying? And so you're like, oh, okay. And so now you're writing some more notes and you're going, you're listening, and then boom, they change the next slide on you and you're still behind. Does that ever happen? Then after a while you're like, screw it, and you quit taking notes, right? Yeah, forget it. And you just sit there, fold your arms. I'm going to give you permission to use your cell phone, and you can take pictures of any slides you like. Now, don't sit up there on camera mode and like videotape the video. That's not necessary. We already said you could have access to see that again, right? But it would be good for your own brain and everything to take pictures of some specific slides that impact you tonight, okay? So I give you permission to do that. All right, here we go with my buddy John. Maybe.
My name's John O'Neill, and I'm a real estate investor, entrepreneur based here in Salt Lake City, Utah. I'd like to welcome you to the 4 pillars of epic wealth creation, how to begin to build wealth into your life through taxes, banking, real estate, and business. We're going to go through some fantastic information, and I can't wait to show you what we have to do. So make sure you get a pen and paper out, take some notes, write some of these things down on 2 basic concepts that we're going to cover. We're going to cover how to keep more cash flow in your life and how to build cash flow through real estate and business. And so let's just jump right into it. I'm excited to make this happen. This is me. I'm John O'Neill. I'm based here in Salt Lake. Like I said, it's my wife, Christina. I've been investing now for only about 5 years in my own real estate. For all of my life, I've been investing in real estate, and so have you. It just might not be real estate you own. But I started to learn how to flip houses, gain rentals, do creative acquisitions, raise money for purchasing real estate through self-directed retirement accounts about 5 years ago. I've bought over 19 properties. I've flipped 12 of them. I've averaged a net profit of almost $40,000 each, which is about what I used to make swinging a hammer for a living as a contractor. I started in construction trades when I was 13. I built up my business, and that was fantastic for a while. And then the crash happened. And then we also experienced some major medical setbacks as a family, and we found ourselves broke, living out of my sister-in-law's basement when about 6 years ago now, with 8 suitcases to our name. And so I had to restart. I was roofing people's homes for $12 an hour. And when I began to learn about real estate was through the system I'm about to show you right now. I've been able to, like I said, acquire a lot. I now have a passive income of almost $30,000 a month. I'm 34 years old. Based here in Salt Lake, and the best thing about that is I've helped a lot of other people learn how to gain access to systems that produce revenue into their life. And so that's what I'm here to share with you. Not just my journey, but how I've accomplished what I have through these concepts. Here's some of what I've been able to do with it. These are some of the houses I've been able to acquire. The very first deal I ever did was a short sale. I didn't even know what that meant. And it was negotiating with the bank to get the property short of what was owed on it. And I got it for 78 grand. I funded that house with a self-directed retirement account from a remodeling client of mine. I gave him a 12% return on his investment and secured that in first lien position on the house. And then I sold the house for about 140 and netted 37 grand. He made 5,600 tax free, and I was off and running. That's how I also did my next roughly 4 deals, was through those types of capital, other people's money. And then I've learned some creative strategies that I want to share with you, like the one in the corner right there, which was one of the best that I've done, where I was actually able to net a check of over 82 grand on that house. That was a good one. It was a good day. It's twice what I used to make in a year. And that was through a for sale by owner that I got that home here in Utah in Sugar House. I negotiated seller financing on that. The one down there in the corner, this is the check I made on that one. I subdivided the land, sold the lot next door, and made about 92,000 in a day on that one. And the last one in the bottom left is a house I did in Tooele, where the lady was actually behind on her mortgage. I caught her up and I stepped into her home subject to the existing loan that she had. And it's one of my favorite strategies. It's called subject to. Write that down. We'll talk about that a little bit, how you can step into an existing person's financing or mortgage and take over their payments and own the house and end up being able to leverage that home for rentals or a fix and flip. So right there, that's, around $220,000 in net income I've made just this last year. And those are some of the properties I've been able to do. Like I said, though, I haven't been doing it forever. And if you want to learn to do real estate investment like that, you've got to invest first here. You've got to gain some knowledge. And so what you are about to learn is, first of all, how to keep more cash flow in your life through taxes and interest, how to recover it. And then secondly, how to build it by learning to find all the money you need to invest in real estate, regardless of where your credit is right now, and being able to use a fantastic velocity banking strategy that we teach that helps people to do it. So I hope you're ready. Hope you're buckled up. And if you are, do this for me wherever you're at. If you're ready, say ready. Okay, I'm just going to assume that you said that because we're going to dive right into it. Okay, cool. So the first pillar is taxes. The reason we talk about taxes first is it's the first and largest expense in your life. More than food and clothing and shelter and entertainment, the rest of your life you will pay in taxes. The saying goes, death and taxes. So let's talk about it for a second. It's a really important pillar of understanding how to build wealth. How do you keep more in your own life and stop paying so much in taxes? Well, the first and number one rule is to be a business owner, right? Don't just be an employee, because you don't have choices on how you take in your income. And people pay a lot more in taxes on income that they take in that is earned income than they take in on income that they take in through passive real estate strategies and business. So we're going to dive into that and talk about that. The second pillar we're going to talk about, a pillar of building wealth. And when I talk about wealth, by the way, I'm not just speaking about wealth of money. I'm not just talking about how much money you have in your bank account. I'm talking about wealth of time. I'm talking about wealth of lifestyle, wealth of relationship, wealth of network. I'm talking about how do you design your life so that you control it. Well, first, learn to recover cash through paying less in taxes by being a business owner and real estate investor, accessing over 400 tax deductions instead of 15. And secondly, learn how to stop paying so much interest on the loans in your life, on your student loan, your car loan, and your mortgage loan. Literally a strategy that will show you mathematically how to pay those loans off in 1/10 of the time by using money differently. So I'm going to dive into that. And then real estate. So you're all investing in real estate. I guarantee it. I promise it. No doubt about it. It might just not be real estate you own. I never owned or bought a house before I was 28 years old. My financial philosophy growing up was to work hard and save money. And that's all I knew. That's what I was taught. And that led me to being totally broke at the age of 28, never buying a home. I've now bought a lot more because I learned a new financial philosophy, and it was around real estate and business. It was how to learn to leverage something else besides my time, learn to leverage other people's money, other people's credit, other people's energy, and be able to put that together so that I could, now I have passive assets that put money into my life, whether I'm working for them or not. I get paid when I sleep, and I love teaching people how to do that. So that's why you're here, hopefully. Write this down as one of the first things to put down. If you want to increase your money, increase the value you bring for it. See, money is just a receipt for value that you bring. And so the value I used to bring was I swung a hammer. I could build you a house, and I had to trade my time to do that. And now I've increased my value, and I bring it to the marketplace and teach other people how. And even though I don't have a college degree, it totally works. So I've got a couple people joining. I'm glad you guys are here. I'm going to make sure that we keep this flowing really good, and let's jump into it. Welcome, 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 welcome. Taxes, banking, real estate, business. Okay, here's the problem. This is a problem. And if you don't plan, then this is where you end up. People don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. The average 65-year-old has less than $27,000 in their retirement account. People that build up nest eggs, they run out of eggs. But people that buy chickens will give them an egg every day. What do I mean by that? The 40-40-40 plan is broken. It's work from the age of 25 to 65, and you used to get a pension, but you don't anymore. You fight traffic, you have a boss, you don't have control of your life. If you're in that place, then we have a better plan for you. And we lay it out through what we do and how we do it. Here is the basic understanding of how you can make income. Be an employee, you can trade your time for dollars. You can be a small business person, and you are somebody that gets leveraged to make that money. You can be a business owner and have a franchise system that makes you money, or you can be an investor, make your money work for you. As an employee, you only have about 15 deductions. As a self-employed individual, you understand that as a small business owner, the minute you remove yourself from the business, it's basically over. When I was a remodeling contractor, as soon as my son was in the hospital, I wasn't there with him. The money wasn't coming in like it was previous to that, right? We'll get more into detail on some of that here in a second. But what I want to show you is a business system that has put over $1.4 million into my life in the last 3.5 years, and how I've learned to use my own funds as well as other investors' funds to leverage more into real estate and be able to do that. So we're going to jump right into that, and it's going to be fantastic. So here's one of the first things you need to know. You're welcome to take screenshots of this stuff. An income statement and a balance sheet is at the basic understanding of cash flow. So cash flow is simple. You either have a poor way of handling cash flow, which is just you make it and you spend it. That is a poor cash flow. You get cash and it flows out. Simple as that. The next way is a middle class thinking around cash flow, which is to make money, then buy something on credit that's shiny or nice or something that you want. It creates an expense in your life and then you pay for it. The last way of cash flow is a wealthy way to address cash flow, which is to make money, buy an asset which puts more money into your pocket, and then you get to then pay for your expenses. So literally, there's nothing wrong with having the nice car, the Porsche, whatever it is that you desire. It's to have the apartment building or the rentals first that pay for those things. The wealthy have been doing that for years, and they leave clues. If you want to get somewhere in life, simply find someone that is where you want to be and learn from them, right? Because the day you stop learning is the day that you die. So if the wealthy 1% in this country have mainly built their wealth through business and real estate, you should give it a shot. Simple as that, okay? You can do it other ways, but the best way is that big green chart right there. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna teach you how to take a problem and bring a solution to it, because that's the number one thing you need to do as an entrepreneur and a real estate investor, be a problem solver. So I'm gonna solve the problem of this be in your life. By the end of this webinar, it will look a lot more like this if you listen to some of the things that I teach, right? Very simply, how to keep more because of tax and interest strategies. So the first thing you need to know to keep more of the money you pay in taxes is how are you making that money? If you're making it as an employee and that is your only designation, then you have no choice. You are in a 30% income bracket where they're taking the tax out of your check before it even gets to you. Have you ever noticed when you work that hour at the job and you risk that hour of time, your reward is a paycheck, but you don't even get the full paycheck. They take something out of it before you even get access to it. And then you pay for all of your stuff like I used to in after-tax dollars, right? I have a cell phone, I have children, I have cars, I have all those types of things. I pay for all of them through my business. That's what a business owner does. And if you want to be a business owner, All you've got to do to start a business is simply become startup mode, right? So you can say after me right now, if you want to start a business, literally say after me, I'm a business owner. That's all it takes. Start keeping track of the expenses of your business. So 54 cents a mile for every mile that you drive. If you have a cell phone, if you have a computer, if you have a small home office. I happen to have children. I pay my children through my business. You can pay your kids up to $6,300 a year with no W-2 or 1099 issued to them, and you can write that off as a business expense. I'm a family man. I live here in Salt Lake. I love my family. It's why I do what I do. But we don't take vacations in the O'Neill family. We take business trips, right? And they happen to be to great places like Cancun, Mexico, and Hawaii. And we have a lifestyle that's very different than others simply because I get to pay for all those things as a business expense rather than out of what's left over. And I pay income taxes on what's left over. Now, property taxes I pay a lot of, and I agree that you should pay property taxes. They go to fund schools and police and fire and bridges and infrastructure. But income taxes, they don't pay for a whole lot in our society. I don't think the government's doing a great job with them. So I choose to keep as much of that in my life as possible and give back. So you can pay taxes on 20% that's left over, or 6%. If you want to become a business owner, you're going to open up a 30% pay raise to yourself just simply by tax deductions right there. The second strategy we cover on keeping and recovering cash flow is velocity banking. This one will blow your mind. You've never seen this before, so pay attention. All right. The first thing I want to lay out is that the average household around the country makes about $5,000 a month. You might make more, you might make less, but we're just going to base what you do with that money. What is your cash flow and how you treat that money to see how you can recover more cash flow and use that to pay down your debt quickly. Here's what I want you to write down around this concept. You ready for it? Write this down. This is super important. If there's only one concept you take from me, it's this one right here. The wealthy use credit as leverage. We learn to leverage credit rather than our own time to acquire more. So we use credit as leverage, and then we use cash as velocity to pay that credit down. So let me show you what I mean by that. So the first thing is, let's lay out the basic family. They make $5,000 and they put it in their checking and savings account. Why do we put it in a checking and savings account? Because that's what the bank told us to do. Who do you think that benefits the most? You or the bank? Probably the bank. That's where we learn about banking, is from them. And I guarantee you their buildings are bigger than yours. So they want you to put it in checking and savings, because when you put it into savings, they go get like $11 more from the Federal Reserve for every dollar you put in savings. And they loan it back to you at 6%, even though they're giving you 1% in your savings account, which doesn't even keep up with inflation. It's insane. So take the 5, here's what you do with it. You put it in the checking account and you pay for the mortgage. You put it in the checking account and you pay for the cars. You put it in the checking account and you pay for your, your emergency credit card over here that you ran up on credit because you had an emergency, right? So then you've got another $600 that goes to, $1,200 that pays for gas, groceries, utilities, and all that stuff. And then whether or not you understand it, you are saving, and it might be in a savings account. It might be in a 401k, which averages a 3% rate of return. If you don't even count the fees, 401ks are a joke. Or you might be saving it by giving it to the government, and they give it back to you in the form of a refund in February after you gave them an interest-free loan for a year. So one way or the other, you're putting that money aside. And so I'm going to show you the biggest problem with that is your cash flow is zero. Zero cash flow, that's the problem. And that is a financial model that is not worth investing in. Let's fix it. So the way to fix this model, this is a problem. Let's talk about fixing it in your life right now. The first thing that you need to understand about a line and a loan is that they're different. They're both bank products, but they're different in the way they are treated. So a loan is something that has a payment that goes into it, and it locks that payment up, and you cannot re-access that payment unless you sell that house or sell that car or refinance it. That's the only way you can access that payment. It is goes in and you can't get it back. A line, however, the minute you make a payment on a line of credit, whether it be a credit card, whether it be a home equity line of credit, business line of credit, you can access that payment immediately, and you can swipe that card or that line to buy the things that you need in your life. So it allows you access to it, which is incredibly important. The second biggest thing that is a difference is that with loans are amortized and they have a schedule of payment. And that payment every month is the same. It says you're going to pay this much in interest and this much in principal reduction. And then next month, you're going to pay this much in interest and this much in principal reduction. And it goes down on a schedule, on a car loan schedule of 6 years, on a student loan schedule of 40 years, on a mortgage schedule of 30 years. That's the schedule, and it doesn't change. Okay. Lines change every day when a payment is made because it's based on daily simple interest. The minute you make a payment on a line, it reduces your balance and you pay less in interest. Interest is the second biggest cost in your life, and here's why. I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to give you the option. If I were to loan you 10 grand, would you want to pay me 21% or would you want to pay me 6? It's up to you. I'll let you choose. Choose quickly. And as you do that, I want to ask you, which of these is hotter, 32 degrees or 1 degree? Well, which is hotter now? 1 degree Celsius is hotter than 32 degrees Fahrenheit, even though it's a smaller number. And this is the reason I make this analogy is I want you to know that banks are doing this to you in a loan structure. A loan is a very expensive way to borrow money compared to a line. And so this is why. They amortize a loan on a schedule. And because they amortize it, they can front load all of the interest to the front of it. That big red arc, that's front loaded interest. So literally when you get a car loan, student loan, or mortgage loan, and you begin paying on it, the majority of your first payments are interest. And if you play that out and you buy a $200,000 house, you make a payment every month for 360 months, you'll still pay double what you bought the house for. Okay, that's a problem. But even bigger than that is this problem right here. The average American either sells the home or refinances every 56 months. If you take this out 56 months, this is how much you're paying for $13,000 of principal reduction on your mortgage. You're paying $54,200 in interest. Does that look like 6% to anybody else? No, because it's not. It's literally like over 300% interest because people stay in this cycle of refinance every 56 months. And then people will pay for their colleges from their home. They'll pay for their cars from their home, and they'll refinance it into the loan, which is the highest interest you could ever pay is in a loan structure. Even if you didn't refinance, you would still pay $232,000 in interest for that loan. It's incredibly high. So there's a way to fix it, and let's show you how. The first thing that you need to do is treat your cash differently. Make a different choice with it. It's what wealthy people have learned to do, and what I'm going to encourage you to start doing as well. The first choice you're going to make is bypass the checking account, put all of your income onto your debt, and then stop putting your money in the savings account where it gives you less than a 1 point in interest. If it starts with a point as an interest rate, here's a maximum. If it starts with a point, it's pointless. All right. Just trust me on that. So we're going to recover $2,000 of cash flow into your life by 2 simple steps. You're going to bypass your checking account, put it all onto your debt, and then you're going to stop savings in that account. Now, I do want you to have money set aside for an emergency. Like I've got my money set aside in my safe. It's next to my guns. If the zombie apocalypse happens, I'm down. I'm ready to go, right? But other than that, I don't save as a way for investment in a banking account because my money is not doing anything for me in there. If you're putting in an account, in a savings account or 401k, and it's not even keeping up with inflation, the cost that things will cost, then it's doing you no good. So I put it all on my very high interest debt. And here's how I do that. You're going to take all of your income. How much of it? All of it. This is the only way this strategy works, and put it straight to your credit card. And you're literally going to slam $5,000 down on your credit card. Now, in this scenario, you still have $3,000 of expenses. So $5,000 goes in, the $2,000 of discretionary income sits on the line and works for you every day to reduce how much interest you're paying. And that's month 1. All right, month 2, you do it again. You slam it with $5,000. You know, maybe you get paid twice a month or 4 times a month or 8 times a month like me, whatever. And it slam it. And then you pay your bills from the credit card. You can pay a mortgage from a credit card. You can connect it to PayPal. You can get a balance transfer check and write checks if you need to. But the majority of costs in your life, you can swipe a card for. Let's say in month 3, you actually have an emergency. An emergency is a tire blows on your vehicle, and you've got to get $1,000 worth of tires. Well, can you use your credit card to do that? Yes, you can access the principal you paid down because it's in a credit card. And you could not do that if you just slammed your mortgage with your savings. You couldn't access your mortgage to pay for those tires. That's why we use the line of credit. So two things you can use your line of credit for other than debt reduction are assets, to purchase assets, or emergencies. Those are the only two things in this scenario. Now, also month 3, month 4, you're going to notice a couple other things happen. When you hit your credit lines with multiple payments a month, your credit score is going to go up. They like that. And the other thing is the bank is going to give you a credit limit increase. They've never given me a savings increase, but they've given me lots of credit limit increases as I've used it better, and they give me more. It's an interesting thing. So just using that basic scenario, you pay off $13,000 of credit card debt in 6.5 months, slamming all of your debt, using all of your income 24/7 on your line. Very simple. It's math, not magic, right? So now you're going to take a $13,000 payment from that credit card and you're going to put it onto your mortgage. And here's what's going to happen. You put it down on your mortgage and then it gets paid down over the next 6.5 months. Well, how much does that cost you to reduce your mortgage by $13,000 in principal? It costs you $1,365 if you have a 21% mortgage, 21% line of credit. So let me make this clear. You're going to credit card your house. Yes, you are. Even at 21%, you take the math, $13,000 in principal payment, you times it by 0.21, that's the percentage rate. So can you get a credit card for less than 21%? Yes, of course you can. I like to underpromise and overdeliver. So even at 21%, you only pay $1,365 in interest to pay down $13,000 of principal on a line. On a loan, once again, it would take you 6 times as long, 8 times as long, 8 times as long, and it would cost you $54,000 in interest to pay down $13,000 in principal. So you get to choose. But every time you take a chunk from your line and chunk it towards your loan, you're going to cut off, in that scenario, you're going to cut off about 4 years off your mortgage. You're going to save yourself $54,000 in interest, and you're going to, you're going to accelerate how quickly you pay your debt down. You can literally pay off a 6-year car loan in 1 year. You can pay off a 30-year mortgage in 3 years simply by using your cash differently, converting it to a line and then applying that line to slam down the principal. It is a phenomenal strategy. Let's just play it out. Let's say that you do that 7 to 10 years later based on this, but it can be shorter than that. You pay off the mortgage. You totally pay off the house. Then you pay off the car, and then you have more cash flow. Well, with cash flow, wealthy people use cash as velocity. So you've got to get more debt. That's the problem. So let me establish something. There is good debt and there is bad debt. Bad debt costs you money. Good debt brings in cash flow. So I have about $1 million in debt right now in real estate that brings in cash flow that pays all my bills. I'm semi-retired at 34 because there's people out there paying down my mortgages and my rents, and those properties are not over leveraged. So that's a really good place to be. How did I get there? I learned some things. So here's one of the things I learned. When you pay down that home, you can leverage that home with a line of credit called a home equity line of credit. You can get an 80% home equity line of credit. Let's just call it, 160 grand. Buy 6 rentals with it. The average rental needs to produce at least $400 in cash flow for it to make sense for you. Add that to the bottom line of $3,800 in cash flow plus $2,400 in cash flow. Your lifestyle is still the same. Then you just apply that to a rental and you pay off one rental every 1.6 years with that cash flow. So just simply take your debt, divide it by your new cash flow, and that's how quickly you pay things off using this strategy. It's amazing. And it works. It's very, very cool. Then we just take that, and if you just play that out in the next 5, 6, 7 years, you have almost 10 grand a month coming in passively on paid for real estate. That's how wealthy build wealth, and that's how you can do it too. So that is a plan. It's a fantastic one. It's one I'm currently doing, and I understand for some of you guys, it can feel like this right now, and that's okay. It's a bit of a fire hose. It's meant to be that way because I want to refer to where I learned all of this and how you can access this education, how you can get this type of knowledge to apply into your life. You're not going to get it from a 45-minute webinar with me, but you can access it through what our company provides, which is an epic solution to the problem of the 40-40-40. We have education. That education is online. It teaches you real estate and wealth management from people that have done it. So we have over 52 full-day classes in real estate investment that teach short-term and long-term strategies, including velocity banking, including some of the tax strategies I shared with you, and then how to acquire real estate. You know, properties and how to acquire them are very simple. You have to find, fund, hold, and sell. That's what you need to do. You can find a property with a realtor and fund it with a bank and hold it for 30 years and then sell it to your kids. You can find it through a for sale by owner. You can fund it with retirement account money. You can hold it for 60 days and flip it for profit. There's many ways that you can do real estate, and we teach them all, plus how to begin to build wealth consistently. We have a phenomenal income system that is a business and is available to you within this program, and then a community of people. So we're nationwide. I'm based here in Salt Lake, but we have communities all around the nation where people gather on a weekly and monthly basis and talk about and go through this education, and it's phenomenal. So this is our product. We have classes on real estate investment, and they cover all topics real estate related. You know, fix and flip, short sales, lease options, apartment buildings, tax liens, lots of different things. One class that I learned that taught me how to raise all the money I've ever needed was from a lawyer named Matt Sorensen that teaches for us, and he teaches self-directed retirement accounts. And I learned these two questions in Matt's class, which have helped me raise over $4 million in capital to buy homes for cash. Very simply put, it's these two questions. Did you know you can invest in real estate with your retirement account? Most people don't know they can do that. You can. There's a self-direction process to be able to grow your retirement account tax-free or tax-deferred. For those of you guys that have ever heard of the presidential nominee, Mitt Romney, back in the day, he had over $30 million in his retirement account, and he didn't get that by funding $6,500 a year. He got that because he self-directed his retirement account into business opportunities, into real estate, and allows it to grow tax-free, and your kids can inherit it. What I ask of people, and I'm not asking any of you, I'm not raising anyone's funds, I'm just an investor, I ask them for a loan from their retirement account. I secure that loan in first place position on the home, which is where banks secure their loans. And so that person has a very secure rate of return on a property, and they love it. They get to grow their retirement accounts tax-free. And I learned that in that class right there on self-directed retirement accounts. I learned about velocity banking in that class right there. It's about 6 hours long. It's phenomenal information online 24/7, lifetime education. It includes over 52 full-day classes taught by our investor instructors. They're practitioners at what they do. We have over 20 of them, and they're experts in their arena. So the individual that teaches our lease option courses have been doing lease options for 37 years. Our fix and flip instructors have flipped over 200 homes in the last 3 years. Our short sale instructor, he was just here in my market talking about one specific strategy called subject to, which blew my mind, that you can step into somebody's mortgage subject to their credit, and they'll sign the title of the home over to you through a seller finance. Then you can sell the home, you can rent the home, you can refinance it into your name because you have ownership. You can get a HELOC on it and buy more. It's amazing what's possible to do. And you just don't know what you don't know until someone tells you or teaches you. And this is the best system I've ever seen for teaching what we do, because it's constantly updated. Our multifamily classes, it's kind of like apartment buildings, and it's taught by Johnny Dessauer. He has over 4,000 units, makes over $100,000 a month, and teaches you how to do it. Notes, deeds, and liens. Tax liens is a phenomenal way to pick up property. You can get a guaranteed 12% rate of return, but the number 4 note buyer in the whole country teaches for us, and it's phenomenal. Commercial real estate and tons of bonus tracks for a total of 52 full-day classes in real estate that you get for a lifetime. We continue to add to it, update it, and continue to renew it. So it's now 52. It's phenomenal. With it, you also have some tools that you're going to need. Our software system is second to none in pulling data on properties in your neighborhood. I quickly pulled the pre-foreclosures in my neighborhood here in Salt Lake. There's over 16,600 people behind on their mortgage currently right now. There are plenty of deals out there if you know where to look and you know what knowledge to bring to those deals. So you've got to gain that knowledge. Someone's got to teach it to you, and you get to be mentored and facilitated through that knowledge. And the cool thing about us and what we do is that we're nationwide, over 20,000 students. We've been around 6.5 years. We're the best at what we teach, and we tell you what the investment is right up front, because you're an adult. I'm an adult. You'll know the full investment right now. It doesn't change, and you can determine that that's what you pay for it. What it can cost you out of pocket is literally nothing. With the investment that I made over $1.4 million. Here's one of my students. His name is Nate. He lives here in Salt Lake as well. He was a psychology professor that has a PhD, and he only made 30 grand a year. Now he consistently makes 30 grand a month, and he's killing it. This is one of his deals. This is my friend Dane. Dane was 22 years old when I met him. He's now 24, and he was a roofer like me. This was his very first deal, and that's the kind of profit he made. We literally have hundreds of success stories, mine included, but lots of students all around the country doing deals and making things happen. Our full investment, what you pay for this education, lifetime, 52 classes, is $19,994. That's the price. What it costs you is literally nothing out of pocket if you apply it in the tax strategy and the interest saving strategy, and what you can do with it is phenomenal. It includes everything that we've got. Coaching, all of it. There's not more to buy. One-time price point, $19,994, is phenomenal, right? With it, you get a ton of support. Webinars, group coaching, one-on-one coaching, education weeks, new classes updated. We support you with fix and flip house tours in your local community, where we have community members doing this, applying this education and making it happen, monthly workshops, and tons of other things that you could not even access all the support that we have for you. Here's a couple of ways where it literally can cost you nothing out of your pocket. What you pay is this, what it can cost you is zero, right? That's the difference. This education hasn't cost me a dime. And one of the reasons why is a full tax write-off against my current income. I actually got a tax refund when I purchased this education because I was running a remodeling company. I started flipping houses. I made 37 grand on my first flip, paid back my education, and I got to write it off in taxes too. The second one is if you ever do a deal with us, which you will do, if you plug in and you learn what we know and you come and do it with us, we teach you these formulas, and you write into the formula at least a $20,000 profit. And that's your full, we're not talking about going to school at a college for the next 6 years and getting into $62,000 of debt. And on average, the college graduates come out making $38,000 a year. We're talking about investing in yourself in wealth knowledge taught by experts that will get you in a place where you're making checks like this very, very quickly. It's fantastic information. A 401k is a great way to fund your education. You can literally fund it from yourself by borrowing up to 50% of what you have in there, paying yourself back the 5% interest instead of the bank. If you got a car loan that you're paying interest on, then borrow from your 401k, take back your control of your life, get your education, start applying this, pay yourself back 5% instead of the bank making so much money on you, right? Apply the education and keep it rolling. You can use that 401k for your first deal to do the rehab or to do the fix and flip. Credit cards is actually how I was able to get the education with no money out of pocket. I had decent credit, above 680, and I applied for 3 cards. I bought the education. Just with the velocity banking concept alone, you can literally pay that off in 10 months. If you get that at a 0% rate, which is what I did, 18 to 24 months, then bam, your education costs you nothing. You've got it for a lifetime and you're off and running. And if we can show you how to buy a home for 200 grand, trust me, we can show you how to get this education. This is one of my favorites. It's literally to take all of your debt, put it in a line, and then divide that by the new cash flow in your life and be able to pay it off super quickly. And here's how that would work. If you look at your different debts, if you look at your mortgage and your car and those things, then you have monthly costs on those things. If you take all of those expenses and you put it into one bucket, you can reduce your monthly cost by a significant amount, increase your cash flow, and then apply that to your new debt, including your education. You can pay it off in 3.5 years instead of 39. So those are just some strategies and ideas of how you can move forward, get this full investment, be able to achieve your dreams and what your goals are in real estate, recover cash flow through tax and interest strategies, build cash flow through real estate. And then we have a phenomenal business model. It is a system that personally has put over $825,000 now into my life. Yesterday, I got paid over 13 grand. It's a massively effective business nationwide that will plug you into and teach you and show you what we do, right? It's phenomenal. You're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. We have mastermind calls, presentations, and we'll plug you into what we do and how we do it. It's phenomenal. I use that word a lot. But here's what I want to end with, and I want to ask you this question. Would you please answer this for yourself? When I have more than enough time and money, I will what? What will you do? When I have more than enough time and money, I will what? I'm asking you that question. I want you to answer for yourself, because I want to ask you, how long do you want that to be a question? I now find myself at the age of 34 in a place where I can travel, I can give back to the people that I choose to, and I can be with my family. I have 4 beautiful kids. This is why I do what I do. What I do is simple. I invest in real estate. I build massive and passive portfolios in real estate, and I teach people how. I run a business system that produces income weekly into my life. And why I do it's right here. How I do it is with this system, and I invite you to come and do it too, right? So the next step is to be able to get back with the person that connected you to this webinar so that you can get access to a more in-depth look at your numbers, how to specifically set up a plan so that you can, in the next 30, 60, and 90 days, put that plan in place and begin to invest in real estate, and then be able to get some information about what we do and how we do it. I invite you to follow up with the person that connected you to this webinar. I look forward to seeing you at our future events, whether it be online or the ones that we have live in person. And with that, have a fantastic night. This is John O'Neill signing out. We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks so much.
All right. What do you think about my friend John? All right. Quick question for you folks. I'm going to say my friends. You're all smiling, happy, and I like smiling, happy people. So I'm going to say that you're my friends now. Okay, cool. Would anybody be willing to share what was their biggest aha so far? We're not done tonight, but what's your biggest aha so far? Yes. Yeah, Darren will help out with the mic.
The trap I've been in refinancing the house.
I see some heads nodding. Anybody, show of hands if you can relate to what she just said. Okay, cool. Anybody else? Anything? What's your biggest aha so far tonight? How many of you? We talked about the refinance thing. How many of you actually ever thought that you could actually be better off using 21% money to pay off 6%? Does that just like, whoa, like that just, like your computer inside just went, that goes against everything I've ever heard in my entire life. How do you take 6% to pay off 21%, or I'm sorry, how do you take 20, see, even me doing this, right? How do you take 21% to pay off 6% and come ahead by over $100,000? Right? It's crazy. It's crazy. That's really, that's cool. I want to actually share something else with you right now. I'm going to do a demo for you, and I think there's going to be another couple ahas. So I want tonight you guys to have some stuff where you go home, you're like, wow. Any of you a little mad right now?
I just told my daughter, I am furious.
Yeah. Okay. We were about to get more angry. I'm not here to make you mad. I'm here to help you be aware. Okay. So don't be like, I don't want you to associate anger with Kevin. Right? You hear the name Kevin. I don't know why. Because I had hundreds of thousands of dollars. You get up in a sleep, you hear the word, and next over we're going to watch Footloose with Kevin Bacon. You're like, ah! Every time you hear Kevin, right? All right. So anyhow, I want to share something else with you and give you some other cool details. But I do want to share something with you. I want to demo something for you. But in the demo, I want to see if you have another aha moment, because you probably will. And then I'm going to actually, after that, ask a couple of people on our team to come up and tell you the ahas that they had a while ago, but actually what they did about it. Because having an aha is, well, okay, that's cool, I know now. Here's what you've become now. you've become consciously incompetent. Before you were unconsciously incompetent. You didn't know what you didn't know. Now you're becoming consciously incompetent, meaning now I know what I don't know. Now there's 2 more steps after that. We won't get through those tonight. The next step would be conscious competence. That means you are now you've now learned what to do about it, but you have to go through a process and think through it as you do it. It doesn't come natural because you're relearning or unlearning. But eventually you will come to this thing that's called unconscious competence. That just means all the new stuff that you've now learned has been applied and practiced enough that it's now on autopilot. And when somebody looks at you, you won't relate the same way to finances and to investing the way the rest of the world does. You will do it the way professional investors do. So you'll have a new experience in life, and you will be a minority. Sorry. Our goal is to create a bigger minority, though. I don't know that we'll ever get to the point of the majority. But if we can at least create a bigger minority, we will have done the best that we could do, okay? But I want to share something with you. Anybody have children in the room? Hands up if you got children, nieces, nephews, or grandchildren. Okay, cool. Let's see here. Okay, this is going to be fun. I'm not going to, so let me show you what you're looking at here really quick. If you look over there, I'm going to put the mouse over that thing looks like headphones. What do you think that might be? Audio. That's not the audio for the video. You can download the audios of these classes and take them with you. Cool? What do you think this thing that looks like a book might be? A workbook, right? When you go to a college, trade school, university, do you normally have something to go along with what you're learning? Does that make it easier to take notes and follow along? Yes. So that's what that is. You can keep it in electronic form and or you can print it out if you feel like it. Totally up to you. So you can take the audio with you anywhere you go. You can take the book with you wherever you go. You can watch the video wherever you go as long as you have access to the internet. They're not downloadable. That's done on purpose, okay? But I want to demo 13 minutes of a topic because I want you to see kind of how this gets delivered. But I also chose this particular one because some people will have some aha moments. Now, I want you to do something right now really quickly. If you're taking a note, I want you to write something down. I want you to write the number $12,000 down. Write the number $12,000. Okay? In this particular clip that I'm going to share with you, the number is going to be spoken multiple times in this clip. The number you're going to hear is going to be 6,300. You don't need to remember that. All you need to do in your brain is every time the number 6,300 gets said, you go, oh, he means $12,000. Why do I say that? In real estate investing world, do markets change? In the real estate investing world, do different strategies work better at certain times than others? Are some places in the country better for flipping and wholesaling? In some countries, counties, cities, whatever, better for maybe buy and hold rental type things? I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not. Anybody ever stay in like an Airbnb or VRBO when you've traveled? Some of you, anybody not know what I'm talking about? And that's okay. All right, that's fine. These are short-term vacation rentals where people actually rent their own stuff out, right? So it's not like month-long or year-long leases. It's like it could be by the day or it could be by the week or a few days or whatever. This is really interesting just for you guys to be aware of it. San Diego is the most profitable Airbnb VRBO city in the United States of America. Miami's number 2. And then LA's in the top 10. But there's a few others, right? So some people that live around here go, oh, cash flow doesn't work because my mortgage is ridiculous, right? Where is he? He is back there. Brett, do you mind putting your hand up for a moment? So you guys can ask Brett about this afterwards. I'm not going to have him give the whole explanation, but we did a property walkthrough 2 weekends ago on one of his projects that he and Franny have done. And this one has a mortgage, so this is a house. The mortgage payment on this thing is $2,500 roughly. Oh, it's only $2,000? Oh, that's even better. Okay. $2,000 mortgage on a property that has a value currently of what? $1.1 million. Is that pretty good, actually? So besides being a low interest rate, what it was is this property was bought a while ago. It's appreciated. But they stepped in on this property subject to, you'll learn that later from us another time, they have deed of the property and they're now making the payments on that. But that's $2,000 a month for this place, right? What would a place like that rent out on a monthly basis, Brett? Okay. On an Airbnb basis, how much a month? So you're $6,000 a month as a vacation rental versus, let's call it $4,500 a month on a monthly basis. So could you increase your cash flow by using your asset differently potentially? Pretty cool, right? So to say that, oh, you know, because prices are so high out here, I can't cash flow anything, that's not necessarily true. You're using the wrong strategy to make the cash flow work, okay? I'm going to play this clip. You're going to have, I'm going to ask again after this clip. So think about it. You're going to probably have an aha moment here or there. So I'd like to hear what you got as your aha moment, okay?
Family members love this topic. One of my favorites. And I've got some fun stories. Someone already asked, I've got to tell my story about Molly. She's my last employee at home, 13 years old, and I've been working her to the, fingers to the bone for years. And well, we'll talk a little bit about her. But all of my kids have been on payroll or are currently on payroll in one form or another. And for those that have children, this is a big deal. How many of you have kids here in the room? How many have kids that are under age 18? Okay, probably about a half of the room maybe. How many have kids over age 18 but act like they're under age 18? Okay, about another third of the room. How many have grandkids? Anybody with grandkids? Oh, okay, all right. Haven't seen your grandchild lately, but I love her. How's she doing? Awesome. Okay, good. Oh, is she? Mine's in Vegas. So it's good, fun. So anyway, we're going to talk about family members. And this is not just children. This could be nieces, nephews, grandchildren, parents, brother, sister. I had a doctor, gosh, this has been a few years back, but he came in and was like, Mark, I need to help my brother start a business, and I'm going to fund it with this. And my client, he's like an orthodontist. He's making bank, and he's just cranking along. And we're setting up this dumb business, really. I was kind of like, why are we doing this business? And he started to get choked up, and he goes, Mark, my brother has autism, and I need to help him be self-reliant, and I'm going to set up this business to fund it for him. And it was just so exciting, so inspiring. Of course, we made sure he got a great tax write-off. But anyway, it was still really special to have him help his brother. And so, guys, you're learning strategies here to affect your family as a whole. And if I can help you to pass on that legacy, it's a big deal. So here's the strategy. Here's the concept. Quit paying taxes and giving your family money. Put them on the payroll, let them pay their own taxes. Give them a gift at Christmas called a 1099. They will love it. Let them pay their own taxes. They could be at a lower tax rate, and you gift them money to pay their taxes, and you're better off. Why pay taxes at your higher rate and give your family money? Let's get them on as a tax write-off. Help them build their credit. Help them start their own business. Get their involvement in the business. Teach them self-reliance. Oh, I've got a list here. I just want to kind of go through this. Help them become self-reliant. Teach them business ownership skills. Instill a concept of a job well done. Save money in the business without having to hire outside help. And it's money you were going to give them anyway. Teach them how to do a hard day's work if you're lucky. And guys, I'm going to just say it bluntly. If you're giving your family money without accountability and them earning it, you're hurting them more than helping them. Now, if they've got medical issues or autism or something and you've just got to help them anyway, I get it. But too many kids, too many family members in America right now are codependent on their parents because they won't let them fail. They've got to either earn it or fail. And they're not going to learn self-reliance until one of those two things happen. My wife's reading this amazing book on this, and I've got 3 kids in college and 1 in high school. And boy, you're in the thick of it at that time. You're trying to help get out the door, right? And learn self-reliance. Some of you may be in that situation where you're lucky and blessed that your family's helping you. Beat them to the punch. Show them you're self-reliant before they have to cut you off. Guys, this is a wonderful opportunity where tax strategies, again, can benefit you. So have that intervention with your kids. Go, hey, I was at this Mark Kohler seminar. We're going to set up a tax strategy. I need a tax write-off for you. And you're going to have to start earning this money. And if you don't, you're not getting paid because I'm not going to get audited by the IRS. Well, blah, 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 blah. No, it's up to you. You can either earn the money, here's your new job duties, or you get nothing. Your choice. Wow. Right? You know what I'm talking about, parents. You know what I'm saying. And that could be even a 7-year-old wanting a handout every week to go buy crap at the mall. Let's teach them how to earn it so that when they're 17 years old, you don't have a train wreck. The sooner you start, the better. What I'm saying. Bam. Woo! Okay, so here's my employee of the month, Molly Kohler. I've kept that little sheet of paper for years. I talk about this on Saturdays. So some of you that are on a Saturday, you've heard me talk about this. This is actually Molly. This is when she was 8 years old. She was on the payroll. She was our paper shredder administrator. I came home one night and awarded Employee of the Month. She got her plaque. I put it on the wall, and I've kept that piece of paper for years. So that was in the corner of my office. Here's when all of your kids in this strategy, in order to set up the laundering business, in order to set up the family business, each kid has to have their own bank account. This is a great chance to go to the bank, show them how to get their own bank account. I remember this visit at the bank, almost every detail of it. It's one of my special memories of my life with Molly. Went to the bank, she got a tour of the vault, she got her first debit card, and I set her up. I'm a co-signer, so I can transfer money into her account and push money from my company to her and save taxes and teach her how to manage money. How many 8-year-olds know how to manage their own debit card, right? Now, I'm not saying it's perfect with Molly. We're still learning, but we're trying. Now, once in a while, she'll fall asleep on the job. She almost got fired for this one, so it's kind of a big deal. Okay. But anyway, now, here's the diagram. Now, with kids that are, let's do the under age 18 first. Now, I'm going to go to a diagram here because it's, I'm going to go to the whiteboard because it's a little easier to explain. So if your kids are under age 18, now for some of you that don't have kids, be patient. Not every freaking strategy relates to you. It's not about me world, okay? Just hang tight for a minute, okay? You have 3 options to pay the kids. First, for all of you in the room that are at least a sole proprietorship, you're going to start making money and you're going to just put the kids on there as outside labor. Now this is under age 18 up to age 17. I don't put kids on payroll till they're about 6 years old. At that point, you can put them in the basement and they can polish shell casings with their pinkies. That's really good. Nike has an outreach program where they'll send you a tennis shoe in a box with a hot lamp, and you can give them a third world experience. It's really cool. So you can sign up for that program. It's really good. Okay, now the other, so pay the kids is outside labor, and you're going to just transfer money into their bank account. And they're going to help out with paper shredding, bookkeeping, teach your kids to learn QuickBooks. Wow. Scanning, filing, stuffing envelopes, cleaning the rental, fixing the rental, mowing the lawn of the rental. I mean, an 8-year-old with a weed whacker, there's nothing better, right? It's just beauty, right? Okay, so anyway, here you could also do a S Corp. For those that are S Corps, but we never pay the kids directly out of the S Corp. Not good. We create a management fee to a sole proprietorship, not an LLC. Not an LLC, just a sole prop. And you're going to set up a bank account down at the bank. I try to avoid a DBA. I call it Kohler Family Management, and Wells Fargo didn't require a DBA because my name's in it. And you just pay a management fee. Now, I had 4 kids when they were under age 18, funneling, $6,000 to Dylan. I think I was doing $5,000 to each of the twins and $2,000 to Molly. That's $18,000. Now, let me clarify a couple cool parts here. When I'm paying my kids under age 18, they don't even file a tax return if you pay them less than $6,300. No one pays taxes if you earn less than $6,300. Now, I want you to earn $6,300, but I don't need your kids to earn $6,300. Anything less than that, no tax return, no tax. Second, cool thing about this is when you pay your own kids, you don't have to hold SUTA, FUTA, FICA, or workers' comp. You don't have to withhold anything. You can slave labor your own kids. This is huge. Big deal. Now, the only state that has you pay workers' comp on your own kids is Washington. Go figure. I don't know what it is. Some kids sued their parents for pushing them down the stairs. Whenever I need an extra, Aflac payment, I just knock the kids down the stairs. Boom. Aflac pays 3 days later. But maybe that was turned into a workers' comp claim. I don't know. But anyway, it's one of those few weird rules. Okay, now, so I pay a management fee for my S Corp, and I can do it daily. I can do it weekly. Molly is playing volleyball this weekend. She'll probably text me and go, Dad, I need some money at the volleyball tournament. I'll transfer money from my S Corp to the sole prop into her bank account. Done. Where was it last weekend? Oh, my wife went with me to the Renatus Washington, D.C. workshop I did last Saturday. Was in Washington, D.C. And Molly stayed home with a babysitter, and I gave him some extra cash to cover some expenses while we were gone. We just did an online transfer, bink, bink, into Molly's debit card. So we got a tax write-off for the babysitter expenses while we were gone. See what I'm saying? Quit paying taxes and giving your kids money. Let them pay for their own soccer lessons, their own food, their own whatever. When my 2 girls went to prom, twins going to prom, it's pretty spendy. So I set a budget. I said, you got $200. Get your shoes, get your dress, you're good to go, right? Thank you. Another fellow dad appreciates that. Yeah, $200 does not cut it. I mean, Dad, I got to get nails. I got to get my hair. I need shoes. I need a dress. And I got to double down. Twins. I said, I got to get a write-off for this. So I told him, hey, if you're going to go to school, if you're going to go to prom, I want to make sure that you're getting, I'm getting a tax write-off for this. You're going to come by the office and help for a month before, you get paid. So they're like, okay. So they came by the office, did some jobs, and then when it was prom time, I transferred money, bink, bink, into their debit cards. They went to prom. I got a tax write-off for prom. See what I'm saying? Pretty sweet, right? Okay, your last option is you can pay your kids directly out of an LLC. So, but pay them out of a sole prop if you have an S Corp. Pay them out of a sole prop directly or pay them out of an LLC. Okay, so you only need the family management company if you have an S Corp. If you don't have an S Corp, I don't care. But the S Corp cannot pay the kids directly, so that's why I do the sole prop. Any questions on paying kids under age 18? Yes?
Is this a strategy you can use for nieces and nephews?
Yes, so you don't have any children?
No,
under
no
age
children.
18?
I'm not on taxmatch.com yet.
Did you catch that? No kids under age 18. You're okay, just make a note. Okay. No, you cannot do it with nieces and nephews because they're not your children. So you have to withhold SUTA, FUTA, FICA. You got to do a W-2. Ugh. But hang tight. You're going to adopt the grandchild strategy. I know she's adorable. She doesn't have grandkids. Hang tight. But you're going to use the grandchild strategy. So coming in a minute.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, the next option is if you have kids 18 or over. That's 18 and older. Oh, one more follow-up on this. Yes. Hey, I like this. Speaking for the crowd on the left over here. All right. Okay.
Okay, so you had the kids capped at certain incomes before, so they didn't have the W-2s and so forth. But as you're funneling things through for prom, is that part of that money or is that some other expense category? No,
I still call it outside labor because they're just like a vendor, a contractor. You're going to always call it outside labor. I don't call it prom expense. I just pay them outside labor. They take it into their personal account and boom. Now I've got a strategy here that's going to blow your mind. I'm taking it to the next level.
All right, what do you guys think of Mark? All right, aha moment. Who had an aha? What's that? My kids grew up too fast. What was your aha? Oh, you had your hand. What was your aha? If you don't mind, just so that
I like what he talked about. Interesting strategy and something you can apply to yourself.
meaning you're writing your kids off.
I don't have kids, but I
Yeah.
wish.
You wish? Now you found out it might be worth it.
Yes.
Hey, I make money on my kids now. Hey, you want cash flow? $1,000 a month, man. $1,000 a month. If I could figure out how to feed them ramen and get 12 grand, I'm good to go. Right? Let me share something with you. I've got somebody who's on our team now, recently, just like you, sitting in the seats. He went through a property walkthrough. He and I got talking with each other. It invited him to come see what we do. He walked through. He's like, that's awesome. Came, just like you guys are, saying, okay, I want some additional information. And he saw Velocity Banking. Here's the cool thing, just like you guys did. He had just bought a house. Bam. He went and did a little home study on his own and figured out that based on his current financial situation, if he didn't make another dime, he would have his house paid off. And he literally just got his loan. Like, he hasn't even made a payment on it. Okay? But figured out that he'd have that thing paid off in about 5 to 7 years. Here's the other thing that happened. His name's Omar. Omar's the finance manager over at the Cadillac dealership in Escondido. For the last 3 years, his income has averaged $150,000. Okay? Which is pretty good, right? Wouldn't you consider that a pretty good income, right? So $150,000. Omar has 5 children under the age of 18. What number did we say to replace 6,300 with? So 12 times 5 is what, guys? So Omar's income, 150, right? He starts a business, starts keeping track of expenses. He no longer earns money, or maybe he keeps it for a while, but he now earns $150,000 as a business owner. What's one of the very first things that he can do? Up to 12,000, because the law changed. Yep, tax reform. So tax reform was bad in some ways, but not so bad in other ways, is it? Did he just adjust his income? So does he now, and this is before any other write-offs. This is just strictly the kids. For any other write-offs as a business owner, he just reduced his income by $60,000. If he was in that 30% tax bracket, how much money did he save himself? $20,000 before writing anything else off. What did they say when you saw John up there talking about what it costs for the full education? What was the number? 19,994. Can we just call it 20? So Omar figured out that, bang, right there, I'm even already there, broke even. And then when he figured out, do you think his house in Escondido is $200,000? No. By cutting it down to 5 to 7 years, he's going to save hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest. If he never, ever even invested in real estate. Do you think we're going to allow that to happen? Now, we can't make him do anything, right? Okay. But do you think he would let that happen? Of course not, right? Because would you let that happen? Would you stop at just saving money on your house? Would you stop at just saving money on your taxes? That was the strategy you saw shared with you if your income stayed the same. What happens if you add more money to all this stuff? It just accelerates it. And speaking of that, I want to bring up a couple examples right here locally on the team to share with you what they did once they learned this type of stuff. I want to bring the gal playing with her phone. Come on up, Crystal. Okay. I want to bring Kim up. And you know what? Yes. And also, remember when we talked about earlier, once people learn about things that they can do with their credit, how we were able to get people 0% interest? We have some brand new people that just came on board to our team. I want them to explain, not the full in-depth of everything, right? But I want them to explain. They didn't know I was going to do this. But I'm looking at you, man. Do you think you can grab your wonderful mom and come on up? Let's go ahead and start with Crystal. Crystal, why don't you share what's happened applying the velocity banking strategy?
Okay, so I'm Crystal, and so with the velocity banking, with our house that we bought in 2015, and after learning about velocity banking and applying it, instead of paying off our house that we had 28 years left, we were going to pay that off in 7 years without changing our income. And then we learned a little bit more about real estate and got some more rentals, increased our cash flow, and took that 7 years down even further to 2.6 years. So.
Did you guys hear that? And, I know that, that's good because they were about to retire, right? Because, the knees are getting a little weak, Right? That old song, I got friends in low places. Well, I've got friends who need hip replacements, right? How old are you, if you don't mind?
25.
Do you guys want to throw up right now? She doesn't. She's like, this is awesome. Like, my husband and I could be financially free by age
30.
30. Mm-hmm. How cool is that? Really cool. Thank you, Crystal. Yeah, because taxes are one of the things, retirement accounts and being, JV partners, and then actually moving your way into going, these guys can do it. Go ahead and kind of share that story.
So my husband's in the back doing the audiovisual stuff. He's an aerospace engineer, and when we found this community, I was a stay-at-home mom of 5. I have 5 kids. And he worked a lot of hours. He worked 60 to 80 hours a week. If you know that industry, that's pretty much what you do. And we were really frustrated. We felt like we had kind of golden handcuffs, right? Because he could produce a strong income, but it just never seemed like enough, and it didn't go far enough. And when we were introduced to this whole system, we have the first year when we learned the tax strategies. And things, we had a tax situation where we owed quite a bit of taxes because of something kind of out of our control. And we were able to save $50,000 in taxes that year. So that was huge for us to be able to be plugged into the network and to learn this information. That first year that we got involved too, we participated with our first flip, and with some partners earned an 87% return on investment of the money that we put into that. That was really cool, and we moved on and did some more projects with that. We've just bought our 21st rental door, because some of them are multiple units, so we don't own that many properties, but we own, I think, 17 or 18 properties. But 21 doors of rentals, and it's awesome. We're putting an offer on another flip this week, and
so you just used the cash out of your checking account that was accumulating to do this.
Overflowing and everything. No, we actually started. We learned how to do a direct rollover with our retirement funds, and used some of our investing is cash, and some of it is with our retirement accounts, and being able to do that, and it's been awesome, And what I would say is that it's become normal, and there's a danger in that a little bit, because We can talk about these things, you know, making offers on fix and flips, making 30,000, 40,000, you know, potential profit on this deal that's coming up. And that becomes normal, right? And what I would say is if you're checking it out, if you're checking us out and you like what you see, just continue to come back, right? Allow the person who is has invited you just to, you know, answer some questions for you, or come to our property tour. We have another property tour on Saturday. You know, just keep coming and checking it out. And what you'll find is, what I found was more and more evidence that it works. And not only in my life, but in other people's lives. And it's pretty cool to be, not to have a scarcity mentality, which is what I came in with, but to really have an abundance mentality and to be able to network and communicate, or network with people in the community, and to be able to just have more abundance. So,
thank you, Kim. So just a little backstory. These folks are just coming on board with us, okay? Is there anybody in the room that's like, just be honest, this looks really cool, I just haven't figured out how I'd pay for it? I mean, if it, right, I really want to do this, but I just don't have that figured out. But if I could figure that out, I'd be like, I'm in this thing, right? So anybody just nod ahead if that's kind of what you're thinking. Isn't that kind of what happened? It's like, we want to do this, but we don't know how we're going to do this. So what happened for you guys? And it's not the only way, it's a way.
That's exactly the situation with us. We've only
And by the way, you guys live down the street, and like you come here and it's like 5 minutes away, so we see you like all the time, and this is easy for you.
5 minutes by jet, sure. But it's we're actually in the Coachella Valley, near Palm Springs area, Desert Hot Springs. It's about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on how many of you guys travel with us, you know, on the freeways. But we were in that exact situation. We've been looking at real estate investing for a while. We've looked at different avenues. Nothing seemed to fit. We saw this group and this education, and we knew it was the right fit. And then the price, and we didn't think we could afford it at first. And then
they ask, would you mind doing this, just a soft hit, and through Credit Nav to see, you know, if maybe you could qualify for this funding that it's, I said, sure, why not? So we did that, and they said, yes, you can qualify. And they said that as is, they would qualify us for anywhere from $70,000 to $80,000. And we, at the end of it right now, we actually went with it.
At 0% interest.
At 0% interest. Cards, yes, now I have folder this thick with cards because I think we end up having almost a dozen of them. And not only that, we're getting these cards, and we already accumulated, I think, about $80,000 because there's still cards in the mail, and I don't even know. But I just got a notification that my cards that I had previously, all of a sudden they're raising up my credit limits. And it's like cards that were $5,000, $10,000, now they're $18,000. I'm like, okay, cool. So it all of a sudden everything kind of shifts because the banks, the credits.
What did John O'Neill say? I never got a savings limit increase, but I get credit limit increases all the time as I use it better. Cool.
And so we're super excited to join the team.
All right. Awesome. You know what? I want to do this too, because a little bit unique, because some of you guys, by the way, I know it didn't get emphasized. This is a 2-for-1 hamburger. Okay? The education's good for 2 people. You probably have a spouse, significant other, business partner already, right? So keep that in mind as you're thinking about what you would want to do. You know, think in your mind, you don't have to. And by the way, it's not an expiring hamburger. It's not cooked yet. What it is you have access to what's called a learning partner. When you sign up, you can assign that learning partner anytime you want. You just can assign one, though. So you don't have to say, oh, I got to go find my partner before I do anything. No, if you can do it, go do it. And then when you have the right person, if you even want to, then you could have that person come on board as your partner anytime you like. And then you could either be nice and assign it to them, or you can be nice and assign it to them for saying, give me half of what I paid. Fair enough, right? So we also have ways of financing. Some of you are going, but I don't have a retirement account and my credit's shot right now. You don't have to I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand if that's the case. But we also have ways to take care of that too. All right, so what we're going to recommend is some things, but what I'd like to do, Brett and Casey, why don't you two come up? I know you have some guests here, so I'd like them to get to know you a little bit. I know a bunch of you have guests here, okay? But these guys drove up from San Diego tonight, and I'd like you to take a moment and share your story, how you got involved with the team, and some of what that's meant to you guys, and you know how that's changed your guys' life.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Kevin. So Brett and I have been with Renatus about 3 years. And prior to that, we were just hunting and pecking for the right education system. We were new to investing, didn't know what we were doing. We were just constantly in squirrel syndrome, looking for systems all over the country. We were in lease options. We ended up spending a bunch of money, different systems, different people. We weren't getting support, and we weren't finding the strategy that we resonated with. So we saw a sign. We came out to one of the local intensives, full-day intensive with John McCants, who is one of our auctions educator, including Darren. And so we just started the vetting process, and then we ended up at a real estate association where Daryl and Imran were presenting. They're Renatus trained. They've been since 10 years, yeah. And we saw the little logo, and you know, they're just crushing it. They're some of the most successful investors in all of San Diego and Southern California. And we're like, okay, well, if they're doing what they're doing, and they were trained by Renatus, and then, you know, we were getting good vibes and good information, everything was solid. We just kind of decided we were going to jump in, and that was 3 years ago. So me personally, I've been just getting my financial house in order and building my business and getting my wife on board. And I've been kind of just slow, just digesting the education. And just in the last year, it's become critical mass where it's like, okay, got my credit in shape. My wife understands we can use our equity now. She trusts me. She trusts this community. She trusts my partner. And now we're moving forward with a portfolio investment out of state. We're raising about $1 million, and we're going to be owning about 35 bank-owned properties, and we're going to be putting in tenant buyers, and then when we get the notes performing, we'll sell them on the note market. And really, that's heavily in thanks to the community and also Brett, because he did a lot of the groundwork in creating the deal. And we're really looking forward to raising more capital for deals like that amongst our community to generate success amongst a whole lot of people where the inventory is readily available versus other types of investments. So that's my story.
Okay, you also do have in the family, and I know what you've learned through Renatus has helped with that. Don't you guys own some additional property?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. Well, I forgot about that thing.
I got to give my mom credit. She owns a real estate brokerage in Mexico. We've been selling luxury homes for about 10 years down in Chacala in the state of Nayarit. And I've been marketing with her, but I've shown a lot of property, but I haven't been an investor per se. So, but now we own a successful bed and breakfast, about 20 years. I'm going to be stepping into management there. I am stepping into management there. And then we have the bed and breakfast and a cafe and a real estate company, and we're moving into land development. So we're raising capital, Mexican investors, and we have architects and builders, and we have our attorneys, and it's just a whole new legal structure, but the concepts do apply. So I'm really excited. I'm going down on the 27th. I'll be down there for a month or two, and I'll just be working on that and helping out down there. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yes, yeah, absolutely.
He said a lot of it. That's great. We were so blessed to find this community, and we're looking for it not knowing You know, going out, and most of us, what do? You jump online, you go to some of the RIA clubs, you listen to podcasts. I had every podcast on my phone you could have. And that was great. But I think initially in this business, you don't really know where the foundation is. You just jump right into a deal. And we made that mistake in the beginning, actually. And we rattled a couple cages, not knowing what we were doing, just taking some advice from my coach, who I paid $6,000 for my 6 coaching sessions. And he said, go do this. And I'm just doing this. And it's like, it's not really working out the way I wanted it to. But instantly it was the people. You know, the product's amazing, and I can't even compare it because there is nothing to compare it to. But the people, the community was what made the difference. I instantly went out and met every regional that we could. Who's that? What does he do? How does he do it? Well, who's that? Well, does he really do that? Let me see that. What? And I couldn't really find it. And so the more humbled I got, and was just like wowed at what the founder put together. My my story real quick is I've been in 88 jobs last time I tried to count. Not really good at them. And firefighter, snowboard instructor, really in hospitality, as well as ended up in events and a large kind of self-help company here. I did events for almost 6 years.
So that must have been the only one that you had for a while, because to get 88 fit in there in the last 88 years of your life, you know.
Right? I usually had about 3 at a time, you know. And it still wasn't enough. I was getting paid easily almost $200,000 if I would have stayed there the next year, and it didn't matter. I had no time freedom. I had 2 weeks a year, and my now fiance at the time and all of our friends, I was like, how do you guys keep on going out and going on these vacations, going on these trips? I don't get it. And I learned, well, I didn't know what a business owner was, and didn't understand they were all business owners, and they even though they were, you know, in their own right, rather they were performers, they still were business owners. And that's really what I wanted. And so my fiance was like, let's take a look at investing, you know. And so we looked at Forex trading, and I was looking at that, and I think she came in through a book on my desk. I did read Rich Dad Poor Dad, but it was around real estate investing. And once I compared numbers to that to anything else, it was like, this is the way to go. And after a year, like he said, that we tried it out and ran around like with a lot of activity. I'm telling you, we're good at activity. We not too long after we said this is it and this is where we want to do it, we were into a mobile home that we bought for $50,000. We put 50 into it and sold it for $189. And then the duplex was our next purchase out of state in Toledo with someone in the community. He was like, come on, just do this. I'll put it together for you. And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, okay, I'll do everything. Just bring here. Can you guys kind of like just say you're part of the deal? And I was like, yeah, what do you need? And so that was all great. And that's where we kind of took off. That was a while ago. We're now up to a little over 30 doors. I actually lost count, and it's only because the way we buy them, we kind of get them bank owned, and I have to go back and count now which ones have locked under contract, but we'll be a little over 30 doors, rental properties. And then we are just looking forward to building the team here locally too, and getting a little bit into multifamily. We specialize in the short-term rental that he was talking about locally, and that's kind of our niche is getting into more an active role in those. And my goal is 20 of those, and get into just building the team here. You know, that's what I love about it more than real estate. I actually got kind of sidetracked because I wanted to share this with everybody, and I got more focused on just helping other people do it and share what I do. That's what I love to do most, so, and to give back.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, I have one quick task for everybody. We're going to take about 60 seconds here, right? Everybody pull out your cell phone real quick. Pull out your cell phone and go into your texting app. So go into your texting. And here's what I would like you to do, okay? You guys have had the opportunity, several of you had the opportunity to go through the property walkthrough with us already, all right, on Saturday. So you've seen that. You've experienced us. This isn't your first time. And now you've seen us tonight. And you've gotten some additional information. And some of you haven't been through the walkthrough yet. We will, right before we go, we'll put the address up on the board there, and you can take a picture, and you can go through a property walkthrough with us this Saturday if you like to. It'll be from 9 o'clock to 10:30. We'll put it up on the board in a moment. Matter of fact, do you mind, Brett, putting it up on the board while we're talking The address for that? Cool. So we'll have the address to the property. But here's what I'd like you guys to do with your cell phones. Go into your text section, and I imagine, I'm going to make the assumption that you have the cell phone number of whoever invited you to be here. Does anybody not have that? I think you all would have that. All right. Do you guys know how to spell avocado even if he does it wrong? It's AVO. Here, you've got hope. You do not have to know how to spell to make money in real estate investing. All right? All right. Anyhow, I'm getting distracted too with this. Here's what we'd like you to do. Whoever invited you to be here, first of all, thank them for the invitation. Thank them and say thanks. I don't care if they're sitting right next to you. Here's the thing. If you cannot follow simple instructions to text somebody right now, how in the world are we going to be able to help you become a real estate investor? Because the way you show up for anything is the way you show up for everything. So if you're actually resisting this little exercise, then we know you're going to resist the whole process, and that's going to make it really hard to help you be a real estate investor. So at least follow this part, right? But I think we're good. So what we would like you to do is thank the person who invited you to be here, and you're either a 3, 2, or a 1. Let me explain what I mean by that. You're going to text the person, let's pretend it was Darren, and you're going to tell Darren, hey, Darren, thanks for inviting me tonight. By the way, I am a, and then you're going to say I'm a 3, I'm a 2, I'm a 1. If you say you're a 3, here's what you're saying. You know what? Now that I've had the chance to kind of check things out, I really don't think real estate investing is the path I want to go down. And that's totally fine, right? Not everybody wants to be a real estate investor. You're just doing some due diligence, and you're like, I don't think that's a path for me to be a real estate investor. So just a 3, so they know that. That's polite on both sides. A thank you, and then we aren't all trying to figure out if you want to learn real estate investing or not, okay? The next one is you're a 2. What's a 2 mean? 2 means you have questions, right? Hey, I need to know a little bit more, right? I like you guys. I'm leaning towards, wanting to work together with you. I've been thinking about real estate for a while, so I've done some due diligence and everything else. I already know I want to be a real estate investor. I don't know at what level necessarily. I don't know everything, but I know I do want to get into the real estate investing game, but I've got some questions. I'm that person that I need my I's dotted, T's crossed, and if you can help me do some of that, that would be terrific, because as I get that information, as long as I feel more and more comfortable about the idea, I'm leaning towards wanting to be part of the team too. But I need to get those questions answered, okay? The other one would be you're a 1. What's a 1 mean? I'm in. I'm in. Let's do this thing. You may or may not know how you're going to fund it. That's okay. That's still a 1. Because you're like, well, I got questions. Well, what's your question? Well, I haven't figured out how to pay for it. Then you're actually a 1. Okay. It just means that if you help me find the funding, let's do this thing. If we can overcome that obstacle, done deal, because I've thought about this for so long. I'm so sick and tired of thinking about it. If I couldn't do it with a group of people side by side with me doing it, I'm never going to get it done. And so when would now finally be the right time to do it? Okay. So you're either a 3, a 2, or a 1. Text that person, and they will know that you want to sit down and have that, we'll call it a strategy session, either to answer questions or to figure out how to get you rolling, set up a plan for you, and figure out how to get you to come on board to the team. Thanks for spending the time with us, and we hopefully will see the majority of you again Saturday, unless you're out of town. But where do you go when you live in the San Diego area? I mean, where do you go out of town? Right? Let's go where it's like hotter. I don't know, right? Let's go where there's like no beaches. I know we're all going to go hang out in Yuma. Let's go. All right, thanks everybody. Have a nice evening.